Hi, this is Joe Greco, Corporate Design Director for Gatehouse Media. Welcome to another installment of Gatehouse Media's online training series. Today I'm going to talk about QuarkXPress 7, specifically the tool palette. Today I'll be going over each tool in the tool palette, telling you what it's used for, as well as pointing out some tools that you'll likely never use. For those of you familiar with Quark, this will likely be a little bit remedial for you, but for those who are just starting out with Quark, hopefully this will tell you some things you didn't already know. Okay, let's begin. The item tool is the first tool in the tool palette. I'll move this toward the center of the screen so you can see it. Typically I'll leave my tool palette up here in the left hand corner so I'll always know where it is at all times, but for this purpose, for the video, I'll move it to the center so you can perhaps take a look at it more easily. The item tool is something that is a tool that I use to select more than one object, to either group it, to move it around your page. It's basically something that can select more than one object. Typically though, I don't use this tool or select it because there's a time factor that I lose if I were to scroll or move my mouse all the way back up here to the corner where it's located. Because I can achieve the same goal with the content tool. The content tool is likely the tool that you'll use most of all because you need it to edit type, to write a headline, to import or move a picture within a picture box. It's the tool that you'll likely have active most of the time. And with the content tool, like I said earlier, I can highlight a word, a paragraph, insert words with this. With a picture, I can use the content tool to move a picture around within the picture box, but I can also do exactly what the item tool can do by holding down the Apple or the Command key. By doing so, it turns my arrow into the item tool. Same thing with the text box. And with that button selected, I can accomplish the same thing. So I save some time by not having to go back up there and manually selecting that tool. Next is the rotation tool. I use this to perhaps rotate a box manually like this, but again, it's not a tool I typically use because I only want to rotate objects, whether it's a text box or a picture box, very, very slightly. In doing so, I'd prefer to come down here to the measurement palette and enter a value down here, whether it's 1 or 2 or 3 degrees, and do so manually. So again, the rotation tool is a tool that I typically don't use. Next, we have the zoom tool or the magnification tool. Typically, this tool obviously is used to zoom in. If you were to hold down the option key with that tool selected, you can zoom out. Again, this is a tool that I don't typically select because I can zoom in with some keyboard shortcuts, like for instance the Shift key and the Control key. With those two keys selected or pressed, it turns my arrow into the magnification tool, where I can click the mouse to increase. I can also use that same function, the Shift Control keys, and then drag and select an area of the page, and it will zoom in there as well. I also use the Apple plus or minus keys, like I'm doing now, to zoom in or out, which is probably the feature I use the most. So again, the magnification tool, the zoom in tool, is another tool that I typically don't use. Text box tool. I use the text box tool to draw this text box you see on the page. And if you click and hold, you'll see a number of other types of text boxes that I'm not going to go over because they are just there to help you draw shapes that you'll likely never need, so I won't bother going over those. The next tool is the picture box tool. It's what I use to draw this box here. Again, it also has a flyout menu that shows you other shapes that you can use to draw picture boxes. The only other shape that I'll likely use is the oval tool. Where'd it go? Right there, the oval text box. I'm sorry. There we go. the oval picture box tool. It allows you to draw circles. By holding down the shift key, it will keep your measurements the same horizontally and vertically. If I were to just draw manually, you can see that I'm drawing an oval shaped picture box. Again, typically something I won't use. I'll almost always use the rectangular picture box tool. Next we have the table tool. Again, this is a tool that I don't ever use because I have much more control drawing my own table with a series of text boxes and or picture boxes, and drawing them manually allows me to have greater maneuverability if I need to adjust anything on your page. So again, the tables tool, something I don't use. The line tool I use a lot. To draw a straight line with that tool, hold down your shift key. You can also draw a 45-degree angle line with that same tool. Again, if you hold down your shift key. You can also draw lines of any angle, but again, that's something I typically don't do. Next, we have the text on a line tool. It's called the line text path tool. This is something I never use, so I'm not going to bother showing it to you. The linking and unlinking tools I use quite often, actually. Here's how or where I would use that. Let's say you're working on a story and it is not displaying all the story or all the text within a text box. And this tool, the linking tool, is something I use to link this text box to another text box to see how much type is not fitting. If you're to hold down your Option key and select the tool, you can select multiple text boxes without having to go back to select that tool all over again. The Unlink tool does exactly what it says. It unlinks text boxes. And again, if you don't choose the Option key before you select that tool, you'll have to keep selecting it each time you want to unlink an individual box. The next tool is the Composition Zones tool, and if your newsroom or text or front-end system is not set up for this, I'm not going to bother discussing it, but it allows more than one person to edit a page at the same time. The Scissors tool is a tool that I don't use, but what it does, it allows you to trim or cut an item of a box and inserts a point that you can move. And again, this is a tool that I don't use. The next tool here is called the Starburst tool. I'll use this on occasion for promotional purposes. Let's say I want to promote something inside the paper, perhaps in the skybox or the rail on the front page. I'll use this tool to create an element in which to display some type. And to use this tool, I'll double click. I'll then input some preferences. In this case, I have a starburst that will give me 40 spikes. And the spike depth, I have it set at 12.5%. That will determine the length of each spike. Random spikes allows Quark to throw in a number of randomly sized spikes. Again, I don't really choose that because I want all my spikes to be the same. I hit OK. I hold down the Shift key to draw a complete circle, a true circle, and it will give me this object here. To give you an idea what it looks like in color, you can see how something like this would be a really good element on which to display a page number, something inside, something that has a lot of visual pop to promote something inside the newspaper. That pretty much goes over every tool in the tool palette. This is Joe Greco, Corporate Design Director for Gatehouse Media. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at jgreco@gatehousemedia.com. Tune in next time for another installment of QuarkXPress 7, where I'll discuss the ins and outs of the measurement palette. Thanks so much, and have a great day.